What actually decides whether that cooling shirt is worth the price? It's never how cold it feels in your hand. It's not how much jade powder they blended into the fabric. And it's definitely not whichever influencer calls it the most refreshing thing ever. It's something so boring you've probably never thought about it. Can that cool actually be measured? Can it be certified? And is it still there after you've washed the thing 10 times? Cool is easy to make. What's hard is proving it. It's the first real hot day of summer. You're standing in front of the rack. One cooling tee is about $5. The one right next to it is $55. You reach out and touch both. Both cold. Same two words. Ice silk. So how is one literally 10 times the price of the other? Why does one keep you fresh all day? While the other feels icy for 10 minutes, then you're sweating through it. That extra $50, what am I actually paying for? And this isn't just one t-shirt. It's the cooling mat, the summer quilt, the sun jacket, the underwear. You think you're paying for cool. You're actually paying for something else. To get this, we have to rewind. A lot of cold-to-the-touch fabrics are built on nylon, and Nylon 6 has one key raw material with a deeply unsexy name: caprolactam. For a long time, overseas chemical giants controlled much of that supply and technology. China depended heavily on imports. The moment those imports got tight, costs exploded. Or mills simply ran dry. The lifeline was in someone else's hands. Now, the other side of the story. 1984, Changle, Fujian. Chen Jianlong began in Changle's small knitting industry. Nobody guessed this grassroots company would later attack the bottleneck itself. Before we go further, we have to bust a word. Ice silk is not a fiber. It's a marketing term. The actual material might be viscose. It might be nylon. It might be polyester or a blend. So judging products by the words ice silk is pointless. What matters is the composition, the standard, and the test. So what is cool, really? It's actually two completely different things you've been blending into one. The first is instant contact cooling. That little hit of cold, the second your skin touches it. That's heat conduction, and it can be measured. China has a national standard for it. It scores something called Qmax. Higher Qmax means more heat pulled away in that first instant. At a 15-degree test difference, 0.15 or higher counts as cooling, but that is a passing grade. It is not a synonym for premium. The second kind of cool is staying fresh over time. Not that first icy hit, but wicking moisture, breathing, and keeping you relatively dry. Regenerated cellulose fibers such as lyocell and modal are often used for comfort, but lasting comfort also depends on fabric structure, fit, and environment. And the real mechanism under all of this deserves a name. I'll call it the trust premium. When a feature can't be verified by you on the spot, the premium doesn't automatically flow to the best performing company. It flows to the company best able to prove it. This sounds abstract until you meet two companies. They happen to have taken opposite roads. Company 1, Hengshen. Its road was, take the lifeline back. In 2013, it created a subsidiary focused on caprolactam. Production came online in 2017. In 2018, it acquired Fibrant's global caprolactam business. Technology that once had to be imported was now brought inside the group. A company rooted in grassroots knitting had moved upstream into global chemicals. Its disclosed caprolactam capacity is now around 1.7 million tons a year. That places it among the largest producers in the world. But here's the thing. What Hengshen has is scale, cost control, and supply security. It is not the consumer brand you automatically pay extra for at the rack. Caprolactam is increasingly a commodity business. You compete on scale, on cost, and on the cycle. Profit does not like to linger at the raw material end. The company's own ambition is to move from priced by the ton to priced by the gram. Company 2, Lenzing, Austrian, more than 80 years in regenerated cellulose fibers. Its real trick isn't simply making the fiber. It turns a material you can't easily describe into a tag you trust. That tag is Tencel. Listen closely. Tencel, like ice silk, is not a fiber name either. Lyocell and modal are fiber types. Tencel is Lenzing's brand for qualifying branded fibers. Where did the raw material come from? Is the production process stable? Are the environmental claims supported? Can the supply chain be traced? All that invisible information is compressed into one visible tag. Plenty of companies can make lyocell and modal, just like plenty of companies can pour a latte. But you can't simply apply someone else's protected brand mark. For a garment to carry the Tencel tag, it enters a verification system. Fiber identification, fabric certification, trademark licensing, right fiber, right content, right supply chain. Then the tag is real. So Lenzing was never just selling fiber. It was selling a whole system of trust you can recognize on site. And this is not just about a hang tag. The trust premium logic spreads further than you'd think. It decides how profit gets split along the chain. An upstream company can hold a rock-solid position and still struggle to capture the consumer end premium with one Qmax number. Cooling is measurable and quantifiable. You can improve it, but so can your rivals. It decides why you're willing to pay that extra $50. You're not only buying cool, you're buying, someone proved the cool for me. It even helps decide how a company survives. Hengshen stands on scale and cost. Lenzing stands on brand and certification. Same industry, two completely different positions. Zoom out, and this is the wall every made in China has to climb. From I can make it to I can make you believe it. One is one on the factory floor. The other is one on the tag. Through Warren Buffett's lens, this is the economic moat. The valuable business is the one with pricing power rivals cannot easily copy. A protected trademark is difficult to copy. A trust system cannot be assembled overnight. Hengshen dug a moat of scale and cost. Lenzing dug one of brand and trust. Both protect the castle, but the consumer toll is usually collected by the second. So, is ice silk actually cold? Honestly, that is only the opening question. You are increasingly willing to pay for a little summer comfort, but the experience was never decided by a nice-sounding name. It comes from the capability behind the fiber, the process, the standard, and the brand. Cold to the touch is just the opening. Wearing it long and using it long, that's the real test. And this is only one way to read the industry. An industry story is never a single line. Hengshen's scale for security road is not necessarily worse than Lenzing's. It simply collects money in a different place. None of this tells you to buy or sell anyone. It is only here to make the business behind the tag clearer. A piece of nylon rope and a fabric tag do not look very clickable, but if you made it this far, you now know what you are really paying for.